if you're somebody who, is interested in the conspiracy space, then you're probably familiar with somebody that calls, I think his title is the fittest flat earther. Maybe you've seen him. I don't know if he's on here on YouTube or what, but I've seen him on other social medias. It seems he has a pretty big following and a big, platform there. And that's the only, I think his name might be like Tyler Hansen or something. I've seen it under a different profile. So anyway, yeah, this guy, if you aren't familiar with him, he compares people like prominent figures, whether it's comedians or politicians or, movie stars or musicians or just people of prominence in society, popular people that everybody knows. He compares them side by side. And his suggestion is that these people are the same people. He'll take two separate individuals and he'll put them side by side and compare different characteristics. And his conclusion is that it's the same person. Now, I don't necessarily go along with that. I'm just bringing it up because I think he missed one. Because I seen something here today that really sparked my attention, and it got me thinking. I feel like I know that person. And who that person is Laura Loomer. I think the fittest flat earther, I think he missed this one. Because I think Laura Loomer is a repurposed Marilyn Manson. Just saying. I'm only telling you what my eyes see. That's what I see. And I think he missed this one that was hanging out there, ripe for the picking. I think Laura Loomer is a repurposed Marilyn Manson. Now, I would have thought that had this happened in the political space like this, that he would have went to the left. I would have never imagined that he would have become a part of the MAGA movement. But apparently, that's where he resides now. And I say all that. Look, I'm not here to make fun of people. I'm really not. But, I have a problem with people that try to step on my rights. Yeah, I have a big problem with that. Do you remember in those old cowboy and Indian movies how there would be the Indian burial grounds and how that was like sacred ground and like no one dare even step on it? Because if they did, wasn't good. Remember? You familiar with that? Well, that's how I view my rights. I view them as sacred ground, especially my right to free speech. And so when someone tramples on it, or at least tries to, yeah, I'm going to come for them. Just like those Indians. And so that's what I'm doing here because, old Laura Loomer here, apparently she has this desire to trample on free speech. She would like to shut you up for numerous reasons. One being because, criticism of political figures can lead to political violence. And, all this hateful rhetoric towards that other nation over there that's our greatest ally.
People need to start going to jail. You shouldn't be allowed to make these types of comments if you're Jimmy Kimmel and Kathy Griffin and all these other crazies out there, Rosie O'Donnell and James Comey. We know all the worst offenders, right? Hassan Piker. Who else out there? There's so many of these lunatics out there. There's so many of these communist Muslim freaks that make threats against the president on a daily basis. Mehdi Hassan. I mean, these people are just so sick, the worst of the worst in our society. And it's time for them to start getting rounded up in jail. They need to go to jail. I think Mehdi Hassan needs to be denaturalized. I think a lot of these Muslim agitators who are at these protests holding up these signs, and the communists as well, we need to start rounding these people up. We need to start channeling our inner Joseph McCarthy. We need to start going on our own witch hunts in America against these communist jihadists.
So what she's suggesting is that we somehow restrict or modify our right to free speech for the benefit of another country. Well, I got a suggestion for her. Why don't you move there then? Okay? Because that's not how it is here. And besides that, again, these are sacred rights to me, and man has no control over them. These rights come from the Most High. They're God-given rights. All these rights, all of them. And I don't like when people try and trample on them. So I'm just simply here calling that out. Because in my opinion, these people have no say when it comes to these rights. You'll never take that right from this mouth. And so, yeah, figured I'd call it out. But guys, listen, as far as this whole thing with political violence, I obviously don't support any violence, none at all. But all this is the Hegelian dialectic at work, right? Because if you're not familiar with that, it's problem, reaction, solution. It's one of their main little weapons in their, arsenal that they like to use on people, in the little war that's ongoing for our minds. See, they create the problem, and then they suggest and impress upon the public to react to that problem. And then what they do is they, stick their hand up, we got the solution to it over here. Yeah. One of the oldest plays in the book. And if you look closely, you'll see it at work in all kinds of different. Every time they're trying to control something or take something away, one of your rights, one of your freedoms, one of your liberties, every time they're trying to step on them, you can bet that Hegelian dialectic's at work in the background. Go look at them. Look for yourself. You'll see. So yeah, anyway, again, not here to make fun of people. I did see some similarities in that comparison, though, I have to say. And if the fittest flat earther's right, well, that evil that is trying to take away our right to free speech, well, maybe she's a fallen angel. Maybe that's where that evil comes from. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what he says. That's his conclusion. All I'm doing is pointing out the comparison, the similarities here. Maybe that's maybe they are each other's doppelganger. I don't know. Whatever. You be the judge. But that's the point. I don't like people stepping on my rights, and I feel like that's what she's doing. So, yeah, figured I'd call it out. Anyway, as always, for anybody's toes that I may have stepped on, sorry about your toes if you stepped on them. This is Thumper. If you haven't yet, subscribe. We're out.